Everyone, hopefully you've enjoyed making your model of your condiment holder. That's what you should have been doing for the last 2 weeks. What we're going to look at today is how we can use that model to produce some nice development sketches of your final design. So looking at more iterations and develop that model. What we're going to do, you've obviously taken a photo of your product already. What you can then do is print it out if you've got a printer at home. This is method 1. I'll show you method 2 afterwards if you haven't got a printer at home. Rest your blank piece of paper over the top of your drawing and then trace through onto that blank paper. So it will just all the lines of your actual model. If it's tricky to see through the blank paper, what you can do, you can just rest against the window. So obviously the light comes through the window and shines through your photo and it'll be able to then trace a lot more easily. So that's method 1 to be able to produce your drawing. Method 2, as I said, is using a tablet. So you get your image in place. It's a little bit tricky because obviously if you touch the screen with your hand, obviously it's going to line it up there. It's going to move the screen. So you just got to be careful not to touch the screen with your hand when you're drawing. It gets a little bit trickier because you can't rest your hand when you're drawing. But it is possible just to go around, avoiding touching the screen with your hand. Again, this doesn't need to be massively neat. This can be, as long as you press lightly, it can be fairly rough to start off with, and you can go over a lot harder later, just like we did with those isometric drawing practices we did before. Okay, so you can go all the way around your drawing, just avoiding touching the screen. Okay, and you'd have your line work finally done. So that's method 2 if you haven't got a printer at home. A little bit tricky, but it is doable. So once you've finished tracing around your photo, you'll end up with something like this, all the line work just of the edges. Then you can think about how you might want to change, if you were to do your product again, how you might change some of your designs. When you've had your model, when you put your condiments in, you might think, oh, that gap's too big, oh, it shouldn't be rectangular, it should be triangular, whatever it might be. You can then adapt your drawing quite easily. So you've got the framework there already. So for example, my front slot here is where my salt and pepper goes. Obviously it's a bit too long, so I might want to compartmentalize this slightly more. So produce actual segments here, and then maybe have a little circle on there. So this is going to be almost like a tube, which my salt and pepper can go in then. Now I can just rub out this block here, and then produce another line there. So obviously my napkins can still go in there, but I have my whole gaps for my salt and pepper in the front here. And then maybe it might be more obvious to the user where to put the salt and pepper back afterwards. Okay, little things like that. Once you finalise your the changes that you might want to do in your design, obviously we need to add and make it a bit more realistic. So obviously you need to add some thickness to the material. So if you had a plank, if this was out of say sheet wood, obviously it wouldn't just be a line thick, would it? You'd need to draw a thickness to the material. So you just go around producing that thickness to that material, wherever it needs to be. So obviously I'm not going to do the whole thing, otherwise it'd be a long video. Okay, it'd be exactly the same with the back piece as well. So add a thickness to these bits here, like so, all the way around. Okay, you can see this the way it looks isn't quite isometric. It's very steep angles. This is it's perspective really. So you can see almost these lines go off away to what we call vanishing points. So it's not true isometric. It's perspective, which is actually slightly more realistic, but it's a nice way of showing your final design in 3D. Obviously, once you've done all that, you can then go over to a fine line, like I showed you in the isometric video. And then if you wanted to, if you had time, as an extension is to render, basically color in your image. So good luck with that. I'm hoping to see some great work with that. Remember, you've got your lesson and then you've got your prep time to complete that.